Good evening, everyone. Good evening, good evening. It's lovely to be back again. Oh dear. Yes, let's get into it. I am still Blue Moony, fantasy writer, and shy magical library in human skin. Oh, how is everyone feeling tonight, this morning, or today, wherever you are? I'm surprisingly actually feeling okay. I was not expecting that. I felt absolutely awful throughout most of the day. Oh dear. It was fairly intense. Fairly intense not feeling great. But I managed to get the small one down at a reasonably decent time, with more than enough time to, indulge in a shower and, eat something. And I feel so much better, unsurprisingly. I hope you're all well. Let us have a little jump just over here. Right, so starting on my lovely NaNoWriMo stats page, you will notice, just let me scroll down a little bit. You will notice I already have 571 words down for today. There is what I hope is a good reason for this. I took some notes prior to the stream, reasonably detailed notes, some interesting ideas that I've been having during the day, and I made the choice to include them in my word count. And I made that choice for several reasons. One being that I'm including a reasonable number of notes in my writing anyway, as you've seen, when I'm thinking of things after the fact of writing that part, and I don't want to get bogged down trying to write it all out properly. I've just been throwing notes in left, right, and center. There's notes everywhere. So, yeah, I thought it was a reasonable decision to include those notes in my count, and I will continue to do that if I manage to take any more notes prior to streaming times. And yes, I will, of course, I'll take you briefly through those notes before getting into trying to finish chapter 2. Another reason that I chose to include the word count for the notes is, oh, hello, it's so lovely to see you. It's lovely to see you again. Thank you so much for coming. Yes, just explaining myself a little bit. I'm including some notes that I took prior to the stream in my word count, because I've been including notes anyway. It seemed a sensible thing to allow myself to do, and also a kind thing, maybe. And it allows me to have a slightly easier writing night, which, to be honest, despite feeling reasonably okay right now, despite an awful day, how many times did I use despite in that sentence? At least twice. Well, I wasn't feeling great, feeling a little better now, but I think I can still, allow myself the gift of a slightly easier writing night tonight. So, slight head start. That's okay, hopefully. And I'm guessing a third reason is that I'm going to attempt to change up my writing tactics tonight, just to see how it goes. I'd meant to start writing this way eventually, not this soon, but eventually, being you know, not trying to pull it together as we go, as in not worrying about sentences or grammar and just throwing it all down in as detailed notes as we can, as fast as we can. Hopefully, you know, I generally get more excited writing in this manner, and that could help too. This is how I've preferred to write for quite some time. You know, the very, very detailed notes, just getting the entire story down in whatever form and then pulling it together at a later date. Because, yeah, I think I've said my stuff needs time to ferment, to mature and age. My work is cheese, my work is wine, my work is, you know, not great on the first pass. It needs time. And so, like, trying to force myself to make it sound, you know, not necessarily good, but readable at the very least, right at the beginning, is, I think, putting extra pressure on myself that I don't really need. I mean, I'm maybe feeling it because it is NaNoWriMo, and from what I've seen, a lot of writers, I probably shouldn't say the majority of writers, because I definitely do not know the majority of writers, but a lot of writers that I've seen do definitely write properly through Nano. And I hope I'm not being lazy. I hope I'm just taking the path that is best for me. Yes. Why should I change the way I write just because it's November? There's not really a good reason for that, is there? The way I write is the way I write. And, you know, I suppose some people might say the way I write doesn't count for Nano, but, you know, I don't have to listen to them. I don't. The one regret I might have swapping to this style of writing, if I can pull it off, well, it should be fine. It should be fine given it's the way I've preferred writing for so long. But the one thing I'd regret is that there won't really be too much more of reading what I've just written, because it won't be pretty enough to read. We can definitely go over it, and possibly, you know, I can try to phrase it a little better just reading it aloud, but in general there will be less reading aloud, and I'm sorry if that would upset anyone. But again, I've just got to tackle this in the best way for me. You know, I've been starting to get a little bit excited because I've come up with a few important things that I did not come up with during the planning, during the planning stage. And all of this is sort of shaping it into what will hopefully be a much more exciting story. Hopefully. And, you know, unpleasant for Min mainly. I'm sorry, Min. Oh dear. Let us bring up Scrivener. Where are you? Will this work? It did! I pressed the right button. That's always a good start. Always a good start. Yes, where am I? Sorry, I should be taking you through the notes first. So I've made this new section in the manuscript to put notes to spread throughout as we go. So let's just... Oop, there we go. Okay, so this one will be coming up in chapter 3, and I wanted to get it down because I didn't want to forget some of the detail. So I'll just go through this quickly. So this will be chapter 3 as they're walking to school. So hopefully we'll be writing this in, if not tomorrow, the day after, but hopefully tomorrow. So we've got Min and Sitcha just having, you know, as normal teenager talk as they can have, comparing their favourite chosen ones, being Trouse and Brioche. And at this stage we probably won't realise the significance of Sitcha saying Brioche is her favourite, because we don't know that he's long gone. It's probably fairly uncommon for people to cling to chosen ones that have fallen. And so we've got will mention how many times have they watched, the one clash between Trouse and Brioc that they got in the contests. And yes, at least once a month. Yeah, they're fans. They're fans of, specifically of these two facing off. That's their big love when it comes to the contests. Yes, and Citra saying about that year, no one came near to beating Brioc, which isn't quite true. Of course, Trouse came very, very close. But Min, that's another characteristic that I've sort of put down for Min now, is that she tries to find, or she either tries to find or she does find something to admire in pretty much everyone. And that would include the chosen ones who barely stood a chance this year. And yes, saying that Brioc was incredible, Trouse was just as amazing, and Citra, probably a little smugly, Trouse lost, didn't he? And, Min all excited and all supportive. He just hadn't reached his full potential yet. If they could face it again, who knows what could happen? And Citra, I know, Brioc would beat him again. But it's not going to happen because Brioc had the integrity to say screw you and to leave. Then they'd be right by the school then, so Citra being called out about that, and people saying Brioc, whatever his surname, is dead. He challenged the authority, whatever I decide to call it, which is sort of, it's now kind of an amalgamation between, a government, a business, and also a religion. So that's fun. Saying he challenged them, he fell, he couldn't live with himself, and he took care of that. So the general story being released is that one. But we've got some disagreement from some other kids, as well as Citra. Some think that he's locked up the same way the hunter is. At the moment, I'm using Nico as a working name. Still not 100% settled on it, but I want to start putting a name down, and I think Nico is a good holding name, and perhaps will be a good final name. We'll see. We've got some people thinking, just like Citra, that Brioc left, but reasoning that he has to be dead by now, and no one can survive out there because no one in the inner cities know that there are indeed settlements throughout the canyon who are surviving, not just fine, but they're definitely surviving. Okay, so next notes, important to do with the researcher. I mentioned them yesterday, but I came up with a few more thoughts for it. So the researcher believes it's her fate to be the next great fate prophet, like her grandfather. So her grandfather would have been the original scientist who discovered fate particles and then had some sort of dream or vision about the coming of the, the ultimate chosen one sort of thing, and all of the contests and everything are, it's a way to sort of try to find the ultimate chosen one, to unite the canyon. But, unite the canyon sounds all lovely and peaceful, but we know that any, so-called prime chosen one declared by any one city would not be accepted by the other cities. So, yes, the prime chosen one would be whoever one city backs that manages to, take over the other canyons, as opposed to bring them together, which is probably what the original, inverted commas, prophecy was about. Oh, prophecies. I don't usually include them, but I think it'll work here. Plus, I'm not even sure it was a real prophecy at this point, or if it was just a normal dream that they've decided was a prophecy. Okay. And so, as the researchers, studies with Min continue, that she comes to believe Min is like the anti-prime, parallels to Antichrist or demon, that sort of idea. So this is sweet little Min who always sees the best in everyone and does her best to always put on a smile and, mostly believes most of the time, if we're smiling still, how bad can everything be? Yeah, apparently she's the anti-prime. And I'd like the researcher to reveal this to Min not long before the escape. And, even Trouse doesn't know all of this. He's in on all the research now. He's not in on all the religious implications. And so the researcher has told all of this to the board. They're figuring out what to do with it. The initial outcome would be keeping her detained and isolated for study until they can figure out more. But the general, if this is all believed, the likelihood would be they would have a prime destroy her, live on TV sort of thing. And, her horrified, terrified asks who it would be Trouse, and we can have her show some more disdain for Trouse because we've already had disdain shown for Trouse by the politician. Related to several things, but the big one probably is they believe Trouse questions fate. He doesn't do it nearly as obviously as Brioc did, but it's probably... And he doesn't broadcast his beliefs, but still it's noticed. And general belief that he's going to fall sometime soon. And they're planning on using Liot to do it. And so this scene would happen not long after the scene between the politician and Liot, trying to start a faction with Liot, because the politician and the researcher are definitely in cahoots, and they are planning all of this. And Min does point out, there is no prime. There's no prime to destroy me, but not yet. But destroying you would pretty much, turn someone into a prime chosen one. So that's fun. It's fun thinking about that. I'm only a few chapters in. It doesn't matter so much that I haven't gone into, setting up the religion and stuff in the first chapter. I'll fix that up as we go. There's so much I've thought of now in the first chapter that'll have to be rephrased or cut or moved. Oh dear. And with all of this, I had the thought of another way to bring the hunter in a bit earlier. And they're using her as part of their experimentation with Min, because she, Nico, at the moment, is the highest person they've got imprisoned, the one with the highest fate level. And so, yeah, they want to see how much of it Min can strip off her. And this way, when she does pass Trouse in the hall, she can accuse him of, knowing that they were going to do that to her. It's not really an enormous deal. As soon as she leaves Min's presence, she'll start piling up with fate again. The same thing happened to Liot. Yes, they don't know how to make the effect longer lasting. But they're very keen to find out. Yes, I'm not sure at this point Trouse would actually know what she's talking about. I don't think he's in on even the research at this point. But possibly this encounter could, help with him finding out about Min later. Okay, those are the big notes I took. I threw a few more random notes into the end of chapter 1. This one just to help me rephrase some things. Okay, let's get back over here. Oh dear. Okay, just give me a moment to put the rain on and try to focus. Oh dear. I'm feeling better. That doesn't mean I'm capable of focus. Oh dear. Let us see how we go. Okay, so we're going to attempt, as I said, writing in a more note form style as opposed to tidily. I've been getting annoyed with trying to write like this. Not just because it takes me a little bit longer, because it's not sounding how I like it and it's frustrating me. Salute! Oh, hello! Nice to see you. Thank you so much for coming. Yes, just about to get into trying to do a little bit more and going for it in a more note form style, because I've been getting slightly annoyed with myself because stuff's not sounding how I like it, and that's one thing that's slowing me down a little bit, besides the constant tangents. Okay, so I think I wanted to put something here. I'll just try to phrase this because I was thinking about this anyway. I'll need a much snappier way to phrase this, but yeah. I'll make it better. I promise. So trying to swap to purple now. Let's get rid of that. Okay. So notes here. Yeah, I was scrolling through them after the stream. I think I threw a few more random things in so I didn't forget. Nothing major. Disapprovingly, but can't think of the word I want. It's not disapprovingly. Okay. I'll be using lots of semicolons here to separate what could possibly be sentences or thoughts. Please don't mind the semicolons. I'm a fan. Dear. Okay. Keep moving. Let's try to note our way all the way to the end of chapter 2. was going to wonder whether it could run in the family. I'll throw it down as a maybe. As in bad scores could run in the family. I'm not sure how intense it would be, but Leah probably has suffered some bullying, probably just due more to his personality. You know, he's an easy target. Okay, so I can never spell this. Exertion. I hope that's right. It's not saying it's wrong, but I might have written completely the wrong word. I'll know what I mean, hopefully. I thought I'd know what I mean when I scribbled notes. I thought... I've mentioned my handwriting's atrocious. I have no idea where my sense had gone on this particular day. It was when I was living in Japan and I was having all of the thoughts for one of my stories, and I was just scribbling them all over one piece of A4 lined paper, using changing colored pens and just writing, not even following the lines half the time, just all over both sides of the page in every direction in different colors. And thinking, oh yes, in a few years when I get to write this story, of course I'll be able to read these. Guess what? I could not. Oh dear. I'm guessing I was just so in the zone with the story that I just wasn't paying proper attention at the time. Oh dear. I've probably got that piece of paper tucked away somewhere. It's a story from quite a long time ago, and probably never going to write it. Just mine it for ideas. But it'd still be pretty funny if I could actually find it and maybe pop a photo up somewhere. Oh goodness me, it was awful. Oh no, making myself laugh cough. It was really bad. Okay, focus. Focus, and my eyes, of course, went straight to my word count. So, where are we? 8602. I'll just update it on my own. 8602, because I have to now. What am I on? 730 words. Mostly notes, as we said. We're not caring. Let's keep going. No C's in defense in American English. Yes, I never remember this. I'll probably be going overboard, talking about how bad she is, so we can be all the more surprised when she does manage to hurl a patroller over her shoulder. She's listening. She's just not very physically gifted, but no, this was also Citra teaching her all of this, so if she ever needed the self-defense, it would just happen. She wouldn't have to think about it, and guess what? It just happened. I don't think it's strange for a little brother to say that something their older sister does is endearing. I guess these two are really quite close, so should be good. You're not minding me writing like this so far? It's okay. How long will they have? Probably not long. I keep getting annoyed with myself thinking about chapter 1 and how many important things I've left out. I made a few notes, but things like the temperature and the lighting are very, very important in this world. I suppose I was just thinking about getting the main points for the plot down. That's the main thing I should be worrying about, but... Oh, wait, just have to go back and throw something here in this extra note I did here about him being, roomy work, cold. Sarah, yes, cold. Min is worried about the patroller who was, nasty to her, because Min's just that kind of person. I still want it to be so, she knows where to draw the line, but I think she really does feel for the patroller and still, hope the best in him and give him excuses and stuff. Maybe she even tries excuses for the researcher for a little while. I don't know. I don't want her to be a pushover. I don't think she is. I don't want her to be a pushover, and I don't want her to be, dull. Maybe it's just because she's a lot, more cinnamon. Did I say it right? She's a lot more cinnamon. No, that was synonym. Cinnamon roll like than I am, but otherwise she does share a few characteristics, so that might be why I'm worried she's dull or something. Okay, so be more detailed than that, or just popping down what he sees of them, and I'll be figuring out how to put it all together later. Novels are puzzles, for me at least. Hopefully this one won't be as difficult as a few other ones have been. There's not a sink in the bathroom, it's in the kitchen. Don't really know what that would be. Possibly something that Min and Grans have commented upon. Maybe something cute like dimples. Just call it alarm. What calls people to school and work. I know these outline notes are already in reasonable detail. I'm trying to add more as we go. And my eyes hit the word count again. Every time. 8794. Okay, so 922 words today so far. I don't really want to call them priests. I'm just not sure what else to go with at the moment. What's something embarrassing that could have happened during one of Granz's tarot tests when they were young? You know, not something hugely humiliating, but just a little embarrassing. Maybe just, they forgot to call Granz's name and they had to speak up at the end as everyone was leaving. It's not really hugely embarrassing, but it'll do for now. be blowing out the length of this chapter too, aren't we? Still don't know what anything is called in this world. I was just going to have it the administrator going around the desks, but let's make it harder for Liat. Let's make it they call them down to the front of the room and everyone has to watch. Thank you, Grands. Thank you, Grands. Not sure whether to go into this unsanctioned upskilling here. I mean, there'll probably be mentioned during the speeches before the tarot tests that, because this is a convenient point for me to info dump in, hopefully not too boring way, but, administrator and priest-like people making speeches in front of a bunch of either, kids on a scale of incredibly bored to completely terrified. So maybe I'll leave the idea of not being allowed to sort of educate yourself further after 22 for that, and that'll cut a little bit out here, and we'll be able to probably see in chapter 3, when Min gets home, she sees Grands, doing something, reading a book they're not meant to be reading. Or I was wondering about Grands teaching themselves to knit or something, because, technically not allowed to learn to knit if they didn't learn before they were 22. And, Min can be as disapproving as Min can be. And, saying it would upset Liat. That might work a bit better. Yeah, I think, this might work better in chapter 3 somewhere. Let's just shift these notes to chapter 3. They get home. So in here somewhere. Just references to min. Is disapproving as she can be upset, etc. Okay, I know chapter 3 is fully loaded as well. Excuse me. Yes, still trying not to worry too much about chapter lengths, if I can help it. Let's just cut that. Belt is, immediately brightens. Delighted. Bevertrich says, is his treat cheap? What are you talking about? Francis is his favourite. Then, worries about the cost of groceries. Friends can most of only use what they've got. Actually, no, they're short on everything. Promise to borrow from friends. Make a day of it. Should probably mix some of this through a bit more. So, scrub his face as he wash. He finishes washing up, goes to, well, he doesn't go to, he starts on the dishes. Grants comes to take over dishes. It's the point of the story. I probably don't need to point out that he probably just starts on the dishes here and now as another distraction. But, yeah, I don't think there's any need to mention that. And we know he runs the household, does most of these sort of chores anyway. Except the cooking. Liot, I think I'm having it so Liot doesn't really do the cooking. Granz does. Granz and Min do it. And I was having Granz being the main one doing the cook, but probably not cooking quite as much now. I've got some of the self-defense notes here. It's probably, I don't really want to bring it up again. I should work them through up here. Here's probably a good spot. think that sort of goes without saying. Excuse me, sorry. Excuse me, sorry. She probably would. How many probablys in that sentence? She would have also picked up a lot of her fighting style probably from watching Ryok. And Liot would know that too. Actually, better to move this down here. Because it feels slightly unusual that learning this particular stuff about Citra's coming from Liot, but you know, she is practically a second big sister to him. She's known him his entire life. I think it's okay. I think it's okay. Okay. I think it's okay to use the term space case, isn't it? I mean, maybe it's just old language that's just stuck around, or I don't know. I might think of something else. Probably work some of this on physical description around the conversation here, so it's not just, you know, Liot describing what they look like. So I'm not a big fan of that. Let's weave everything through. Weave it through, make it work. Let things happen naturally. Looks better there. Here, down here, we've got Grand's homes too. I'll take her with it, should it? try to take over the dishes. Liot. Liot goes to the rag. Gets a towel instead. And gets to the point of the story. Yay. Okay. This would possibly be a good spot to put that note there, which is excuse me, sorry. So sweet little Liot wants to pull his weight. The chores and the finances, everything are his job. And I think he finds the household work very calming. And it's his purpose, and the jobs themselves are calming, but the fact that it brings him purpose is even more calming, probably. And at the moment he needs calm. And I can't spell repetitive. Doesn't even know that sort of... Oh, wait, no, there it is. There we go. I'll think of something clever, but... well, cleverer than that anyway. That's why we're writing in note form now, because my head isn't quick enough to think of all the little flourishes and good ways to phrase things. I need time. But Nano is not about time. Nano is about getting it down, so I'm getting it down. Watch me go. This conversation. Yes, maybe this doesn't go here very well. This might be better. As they're going to school, if I can squash anything else in there. Chapter 3 is fully loaded. Because there's that whole new thing I added this morning. This one, I suppose not really added. I hadn't gone into any detail about the conversation yet, so possibly what can they do? It's just I'll throw it down here. So leading into this is the discussion, wondering if anyone will be chosen this time around. Seacher, not thinking it likely. We're past our prime. Go into the big additions to the cohorts of chosen are always at 14 and 16. Because it's funny. 14 is, of course, Junibyo age, so we've got to have a big surge of chosen around that point. And 16, the majority of heroes in young adult novels. Most of them are 16, aren't they? Not all of them, but a lot of them. So it's 14 and 16 where the cohorts grow the most. Ah, dear. I am enjoying poking fun at some of these tropes. It's done in a very loving way, I promise. Very loving. Ah, dear. Although, honestly, this story has gotten a lot darker than I thought it was going to. Particularly now that religion's involved. Oh dear, where are we? There are the notes I need. Here they are. And actually might just add, Min, some kind of hope for their class. Who joined Chouse's cohort last year at 17. Well, maybe chosen after 16 to make it a bit more accurate there. And then, leave it to you to know when someone joins Trouse's cohort. That can segue nicely, hopefully. And let's check how we're going word-wise. 9, 5, 40. Let's add that. 9, 5, 40. Oh, nope. That would blow things out a bit. 9, 5, 40, not 90,000. I have never reached 90,000 in a nano. I reached 80,000 in my first nano, but there was, what's the term? Extenuating circumstances. I was unemployed and doing absolutely nothing but writing. No other responsibilities at all. I just went for it. The one time I've been able to do that, and I guess I was lucky I even got one time. I still like that story, but needs a lot of work. Oh, we've just hit par by one word. Excuse me, sorry. Oh dear. Oh, wrong notes. Here we are. Okay, so here the school of the first school / work signal. I was calling it alarm, wasn't I? Probably Min and Liot both flinch, but Liot flinches a lot more. Yeah, so the alarm's probably not even from outside. It's probably rigged to go off inside their houses. So not even from a speaker over the TV, through the TV itself. Probably won't pop it in this part, but just some explanation would override the video while he's watching besides the live at this time. wonder if there's a certain reason Liot really hates the alarm. He's just not good with loud noises. The big noise can make just something with the desks or chairs. Okay, we need a... So this is the last time we're going to get to see Granz and Liot together before possibly the very end of the book. We'll still get a little bit more time with Min and Granz, but last time for Liot, so need Granz, you know. Last words to each of her grandkids. Yeah, doesn't hear what they say to men. I think he wasn't really trying to hear, because he's still sort of wrapped up in his own problems. Terrible that I know I put near to the beginning of this chapter that you know, he didn't want to bring up his worry that he thinks that they were robbed when, you know, Min needs carb and everything, but I think I'm gonna cut the worry about Min there. Liot's very preoccupied with himself at the moment, which is understandable. You know, and here he can feel bad about not thinking about his sister. And that way, oh wait, I had it that Liot didn't quite understand what Min meant by she might not need that item for work anymore, because Min knows this is her last chance. If she hasn't improved her fate, she's going to be demoted in society, in a sense. And whatever she needed for this job here, she might not need at another job. So... So some last advice from Gran's, just, possibly some stage advice, maybe. Maybe Leot can say, how am I going to get up in front of everyone? Old school advice. What's the thing? Just imagine everyone's a potato. Worked for me. Let's say it doesn't matter in either. Good. So what's there to worry about? So I like the idea of Gran's being quite, they're a bit, occasionally a little bit irresponsible, but very, very caring. A little bit of dark humor occasionally, but good, solid, sensible advice, and is very good at saying what Min and Leot need to hear in a way that's helpful, I think, as opposed to just saying what they need to hear to make them feel better. It's got to be in a useful way. I mean, we know both Min and Leot are quite practical people. They may have gotten some of that from Gran's. Gentle, push out the door. Okay. You can have Citra calling him to hurry up. And my eyes migrated to the word count again. 9783. I'm just checking it because the one down the bottom, not that you can see beneath the chat, but the one down the bottom just says the count for this particular chapter that we're working on. So but in total the manuscript, which is here, so I've got the 2 chapters and these important notes, so 9783. Let's fix that up. 9783. 9783. There we go. 9783. So we're now at 1,911 words today. That's good. So to be on the path to success for tomorrow, you have to be at 10,000 words by the end of tomorrow. I'm going to see if I can. That should be reachable tonight, just finishing off this chapter. I hope so much that writing in this way is working. I'm sorry if it's not quite as entertaining as getting it out all nice and pretty from the beginning. But I think it is more important at this point to just get the story down as best I can. Otherwise, I'll be slowing down to think about the best way to phrase things, or but what about, what would they hear here? Do they smell anything? I haven't mentioned anything about the smell of the breakfast or the taste of the breakfast. Or, if there's any light coming through the window in the morning at all. Oh, what's on the TV? I think that might be a big one. Maybe in the mornings when they've got religious services on, and maybe while these are on you can't change the channel, it's just the live feeds, and when there's big things on it's only the live feeds available or something. That's probably something important instead of Oh, I've got Grams telling a story here, don't I? Where is that? Yeah, might maybe change this to commenting on the, service on TV. Yeah, I don't think Grans is particularly religious. In so many aspects of the religion are just worked into their everyday life, and it's not like the people in the inner city are really given much of a chance to participate. They're just expected to abide by everything. So, I don't know, maybe she used to know the priest, preacher. Maybe I'll just stick with preacher, because I'm not sure how many people are, just preachers. I think it's all the high-ups. High-ups have their, science, political, creative, whatever career, but also preachers. Might be a way to slip that in to make it work around there. Okay, so let's get them to school. Sorry, just checking these lower notes. I think one of the words I did put down for Leot was that he's quite glum or gloomy. You haven't seen much of that yet, mostly just the freaking out aspect of Leot. First over the money issue and then over his tarot test, but in general, a fairly pessimistic kid. And so he's 12. Or would the schools be separated, or would the neighbourhood pretty much just have one school that's, kindergarten to the highest grade? I think we might need, at least to make what I want to happen in chapter 3 work, I think we're going to have to at least have different areas for the younger kids and the older kids. So maybe it's even just the younger kids are downstairs. The older kids are upstairs. I haven't described what the school's like yet, how that's going to work. Possibly it's well, there could be, a level or half a level or something devoted to the school. I mean, you just go down the stairs, you're in the school, but there's different areas, so it's like the school level for their neighbourhood maybe, and the school level is quite large. I wonder how many neighbourhoods there are in one of the hanging buildings, or maybe it's just one hanging building is one neighbourhood. Maybe. And of course their neighbourhood's really close to the caves, and that's where their nice community area is. So yeah. Or maybe their neighbourhood's just a bigger one because they need a bigger one to do whatever the main industry is there. I think we were thinking, warehouses and maybe transport of things within the city. Possibly even handling the trucks and stuff. Maybe. That's right, then. No, there's more of a reason why Citra might be familiar with ways they could get out of the city, because she was sort of moving up a little bit in her job already. I see. Oh dear, I need to figure out where things like the garages for all the trucks and stuff are. Okay. Walking down or up to school level? Let's make it up. Maybe they're quite far on the bottom of the building. Lots of people, stairs. I don't know, should I do the stairs kind of like how they are? Have you read the Silo series by Hugh Howey? I read them quite a long time ago. I remember enjoying them quite a lot. Again, I'm generally a fairly good audience, so long as the writing itself is quite legible and the story is fun. But yes, they were the silos buried in the ground, become sort of massive buildings, apartments, and the only way between each level was like a spiral staircase right in the middle. I'm not sure about that, but given how these buildings are going to be designed, maybe having the stairwell sort of open and in the middle might work. If they're travelling mostly by stairs, the hanging buildings can't really be that tall, can they? Because otherwise it would be difficult. I know in the Silo books they were very, very, very tall or very deep. Probably no need for them to be that big, and possibly they add more layers on the bottom as they need. Not sure how. Actually, I might just pop away for a moment. I think we should fairly easily get through this. We just need describe a little bit of the walk to school. Min stopping on a level and jumping out of the stairwell to a kiosk to get a test. And brief interaction over the test, and the siblings need to separate. And again, this is the last time that the siblings are together before they run into each other a few times in part 2. Yes, but I'm just going to jump away very briefly, sorry. I shall leave the lovely rain running and I will be right back. Hello, I am back. Thank you so much for waiting. Thank you. Just had to take care of something very quickly. Okay, let's get them to school. So, there's people on the stairs. Here's probably where we can say Leot's quite small. Welcome back. Thank you. I feel welcomed. I feel welcomed. Oh, yes. I am hoping very much we can get to the end of chapter 2. Again, I'm sorry if it's, not as good to watch me writing like this as it is trying to craft everything properly. Still watching but busy. Yes. I'm so sorry. I don't want to distract anyone. Everyone is so busy, but I'm very glad if it's a little maybe respite from your busyness to look in now and then. No, I understand. I understand busyness very well. Not as well as many, but still quite well. Okay. But yes, after Nano, when I start trying to write shorts on stream, I'm not going to write them like this. Shorts, I will be doing my best to write properly, and once it's written through, I'll go through and I'll edit it on stream as well and make it good. But yes, shorts are a bit different. And when doing shorts, I'm hopeful, nothing longer than 2,000 words. I'd prefer, really quite short shorts, 200, 300 words or so. It's nice to be able to craft an interesting read of a shorter length. I haven't had much practice at it, so this will be wonderful practice when I reach that. I've been getting a little bit excited for what comes after Nano, because now that I'm doing this, I'm discovering, what works for sort of writing on stream, and so far it seems novel writing is definitely not the best kind of writing to do on stream. But that's okay. We're just going to get through this, and it's going to be interesting, and it's going to teach us important things about streaming and writing and how to make them work as a team. Yeah. Well, let's get them to school, and once they're at school, I don't think I'll try to move on to chapter 3 tonight. I'll call it a night once we get there. So it'll be a little shorter probably than what my streams have been, but that's a good thing, I think. I've been going longer than I've meant to go, and I've not been worrying about it too much, given, I'm writing. And, I'll figure out how to keep stuff to a better length after Nano, but yeah, I'm going to have to do better with my stream lengths. Well, let's see if we can finish this in the next 15 minutes or so anyway. It's okay if we don't, but let's just give it a go. 9:8:35. Have I updated? 9:8:35. Let's just pop this in because I looked. 9:8:35. Update progress. Okay. Right. So, walking up to the school levels, quite a few staircases. I'll probably describe the stairs here because I think all the stairs and things, wow. I'm a wordsmith. The stairs and passageways that Min and Citra would have taken in the early morning, I don't think they would have taken the main thoroughfare. And I do kind of like the idea there is a main thoroughfare in the middle, and I'll do my best to make it as distinct from stories with the same idea, like the Silo series. I'll make it as distinct as possible. But they would have been using stuff that would be considered, back alley stairs. Or maybe there's sort of two sets of stairs, one for ascending, one for descending. And the stairs, people going to work, the students there. I'm guessing it's like some kind of jumpsuit, because most students go to work as well after a certain age. Well, Leot's probably going to be starting soon. They probably start at 12, and that's another thing he can be nervous about. Probably indicate the atmosphere is particularly lively. I don't know why they'd be lively on test days, maybe just getting out tension. And it's, comes out in the adults as well. Excuse me, sorry. That's what I forgot to do when I stepped away. I forgot to drink water. Possibly that's another reason I was feeling so bad today, not just tiredness. I bet I was dehydrated, because if I feel sick, you can be fairly sure I've done it to myself by letting myself get dehydrated. Disinterest is probably not the word I really want, but I'll leave it there for now. So be encouraging to Min. I know in general people tend to either ignore her or, make fun of her. But the people she knows, they adore her. And I take it she's probably bought a lot of these. So maybe the seller is a Min fan. I tend to describe personality in electronic beeps a lot. Probably comes from in my main magical project. They have a kind of technology that assists them in battle. That's quite small, and they each have different distinct personalities. So when they bleep, bloop, or blink, it's done with personality. So like a dismal bleep. So I don't mind having that a thing across my writing. It's kind of cute. Probably mention, Excuse me. Sorry. This note here is important, but I don't think it's important here. Maybe it'll work in chapter 3 better. So instead of them walking to school, we'll have this description of the area and the school. In chapter 2. Shift that over here. And it's just etc. For school, just in gathering area. Or are they already in the classroom? Might already be in the already in classroom. That might be easier. Did I end up copying that over? I did. Again, last time Min and Liot see each other before, Liot's with the hunter going after Min through the canyon. So, I do need to make this as lovely a farewell between them as possible. I mean, they don't know they're not going to see each other again, but they are both going into, a very big event in their lives. Min's, which will most likely see their family, torn apart for the foreseeable future. Oh dear. I think hugs are okay. So, probably a short, tight hug. Bit of big sister behaviour from Min. Ruffling hair, maybe going to clean something off his face, can show some more Stereotypical. Oh, I spelled it amazing. I couldn't smell something though. Doesn't say much for me, does it? Bro behaviour. Swimming away. And I don't know whether to describe it, but be really appreciative for that. Letting him be normal today. I had thought of something, but I've forgotten the thing of which I thought. Come on, what was it? Oh, that's right. Almost. Excuse me, sorry. Another quick show of affection. Not sure if it's another hug or... she's a very tactile person, so hand on shoulder and squeeze maybe. Or, they're very cute, brushing the hair out of the face. I think it was encourager, but something like Kia Squad or something. Probably he watches her going to the building, sort of. He's distracted, he just stands there and watches her go in. Startled by the second siren. Hits the ceiling sort of thing. Or I'll figure out a better way to say it. Hits the ceiling. Cringing at laughter. Hurries. Feels weird to say inside when everything's inside, but inside. I think that'll do. So what's our word count right now? Please, mouse, be friendly to me. Okay, 10,402. Let's pop this over so you can see. So, 10,402. Update progress. Okay, so 2,530 words today. I get so much more done when I'm just writing in notes. Look, that's my second most productive day so far. Let's jump here and see if we've got any new badges. Yes, 10,000 word badge. You earned this badge by updating your word count at 10,000. You're 20% of the way there. You won this badge a few seconds ago. So there we are. So we are slightly over what our target would have been tomorrow, so we're ahead. We are a good way ahead. As long as we continue to hit par, we should stay just above the line. I've already written 10,000 words and only just finished chapter 2. I'm hopeless in this, aren't I? Just a little bit hopeless. Aren't we all, really? Everyone's just a little bit hopeless. So yes, I think I will leave it there tonight, and tomorrow we will go into chapter 3. Let's just bring up the chapter 3 notes for a second. Oh yes, go away. Here we are. Chapter 3 notes. So I know there's a lot of events in chapter 3, but hopefully, even with the info dumping we're wanting to do in them, each event itself should be fairly straightforward. It's not like I want to spend. So far, so good. Yay! It's not like I want to spend forever with the searching and stuff. The search for Liot is probably going to be the quickest part of the chapter. We don't need to go into too much detail with that. He doesn't go home. They search various areas. We don't need to go into much detail. There's a short story, a part of a series of them, that I have tried to write so many times, but I keep getting hung up on a particular scene in it, and it is a search scene. I just feel like you have to squash so much in there, looking in this area and talking to these people, and we've got to describe this as we're going through here, and it's just... Maybe I should just try to restrict myself to a certain number of paragraphs or something for a search scene. Well, not that I'm expecting to reach that far tomorrow. I think we'll be lucky if we get to the end of the tarot test tomorrow. There's going to be a lot of info dumping in there. So I'm hopeful I can do it in an interesting way. And even if in the notes it's not very interesting, when I come back to and start pulling it together, I'll, rearrange things, puzzle it all out, put, different things the different kids in the class are doing in between lines in the info dumping and such. Okay. So... I'm just not used to finishing before midnight. I don't have to keep going. I should maybe... Well, a little embarrassed that I'm hungry again. I did eat. But yes, thank you so much for coming. It's been wonderful having you here. I'm glad we've made fairly good progress tonight. Oh, I didn't even go into the title. Wait, is delight a defense mechanism? Yes, that's meant to be referring to something that I'd written right near the end of yesterday. That is up here. Down here? Down here. Just when Citra arrives, yes. We are wondering why Citra is always so... Not Citra, why Min is always so delighted. And, you know, saying... Sometimes it was annoying. And, you know, never knowing whether to grin or to groan at Min's inherent delightedness at seeing people she likes. Sorry I couldn't be more active here. No. You are under no obligations to me whatsoever. Just thank you for coming. It's lovely of you to be here, and I love having you here. I love having you all here. But, yes, it wasn't referred to in this chapter, but I was wondering as I was writing this little bit here whether or not one of the reasons Min is almost perpetually delighted is sort of as a defense mechanism. Yeah, just a way to cope. Because, you know, if she is happy, things can't be so bad. I mean, I don't think it would be like that all the time. I think half the time she truly is that happy. But the rest of the time she's probably, you know, a bit of masking of true feelings going on there. I mean, she is a delightful and delighted person, but, you know, there's only so much she can stand, I guess. Poor Min. Sorry. It's inappropriate to say. It makes me giggle, though, that, you know, poor Min, she's the Antichrist. She's the equivalent of the Antichrist in this scenario. Oh dear. Well, probably not really, but they believe she is, so. Thank you so much again for coming, and I hope we may see you tomorrow as we begin to tackle chapter 3. Oh, at this rate, if it's like 10,000 words for 2 chapters, we're not going to get through very many through November, are we? I suppose, you know, if I'm doing much better writing in my preferred note style, and we hit 50,000 early somehow, I think we just keep going, get as far as we can. I'm not expecting to hit 50,000 words early, or at all, even though I can't help but actually aim for it. I'm supposed to be trying to hit some sort of balance between traditional 50,000 word NaNoWriMo, all out, go for it, get it done, and a calm Remo. The gentler, flowier, let's just write, which is, you know, kind of what I'm aiming for, except a little more intense than that. I know what I'm trying to do. Mostly. It's between them. But I would like to hit 50,000 words. I really would. And it's not just to get the winner's shirt. The last time I won, I didn't even order it. I'll consider ordering it if I win this time, but, you know, it's expensive. And the shipping's really expensive. So maybe not. But there are other perks to winning Nano. I haven't browsed them this year. I've been a little distracted, as you may be able to tell. But yes, there's normally, you know, price reductions on useful writing software and things like that. I think I mentioned in my first stream, that's how I first bought Scrivener. I used a 50% off voucher from winning 1 year in Nano. I don't think I used any of the perks the first year I won. I don't think I fully understood quite what was going on yet. Ah, dear. Excuse me, sorry. Have to clear my throat slightly if we're going to sing The Parting Glass. because we're still singing The Parting Glass. We're still singing it, still trying to make it my thing. One of my things. But yes, of course, I still have not learnt it properly yet, so I'll still just be singing the first few lines, and when November is over, I will take the time to learn it properly, and so we can occasionally even sing the whole thing, or at least something besides the first few lines. So yes, how many times have I gone into thank you for coming and maybe we'll see you tomorrow and it would be lovely to see you? I think that's at least 3 times. Let's sing The Parting Glass. Headphones off, because I don't like how I sound singing with the headphones on. Hopefully it sounds all right to you. Well, again, considering how much I've been coughing tonight, it may not sound brilliant, I'm so sorry. But we will make do. Thank you so much again. It's been lovely seeing you. I doubt I would have, had such a good time streaming so far if all of you hadn't started coming to join me, because I of course started out expecting to be streaming to absolutely no one for at least a few months, so it's just beyond wonderful that you're here. Thank you. Of all the money that here I had, I spent it in good company, and all the harm that here I did, alas, it was to none but me, and all I've done for want of wit to memory now I can't recall. So fill to me the parting glass. Good night and joy be to you all. Until tomorrow.